they worked for 12 years together to capture all of these photographs that you see in this one exhibit. There's a total of about, I want to say, 60 images or so. The fossils come from private collections, and they feature materials and minerals and creatures that were found. Remember, this is before the dinosaurs, so about 350 million years ago. There were huge, enormous dragonflies and a handful of other very huge insects, and also some early reptiles and early amphibians. So this is what the landscape kind of looked in, these tropical, very lush. The fossil gallery features a really wonderful mural that was commissioned by the museum by an artist named Charles Knight, and he was seminal in creating vision for the early museum goers and understanding what dinosaurs looked like. Even though he was an artist, he had very strong geological training and worked with scientists at places like the American Museum of Natural History, the field, and so on, to create the artistic backgrounds for these dioramas and these images of the dinosaurs. And that is his conception of the Carboniferous period swamp, that you would have found in what is now Pennsylvania 350 million years ago. And that was, in fact, the last commission. Probably our Stegosaurus that's downstairs in our fossil gallery is one of the most famous icons for the Everhart Museum. He, however, is a cat, but it's real in our hearts. But all of the photographs that you see on the right-hand side there are all fossilized dinosaur bone. Not necessarily the hard skeletal structure that we think of when we envision dinosaurs, but the softer bone tissue, more like the cartilage tissue, that then, again, is compacted, and various chemicals are filtered into the tissue, and as a result, all these wonderful colors are created as the fossil is sliced or discovered and cut into. The museum does actually have a couple of pieces of amber. They're in the first gallery in the back, and in fact, there are some itty-bitty tiny ants inside. The interesting story behind this piece here is you can see that there's two termites there that must have been caught in the amber. Now, amber is in fact the fossilized resin from a tree. The particular tree that most amber can find, at least in the Western Hemisphere, is from a particular tree that would be called, made a resin that was called the copal, which in fact, the descendant of which is still used in South America today as the incense for a lot of different native ceremonies. Based on the different chemicals that were in the wood of the plant, that's why you see these really crazy rainbow-like colors, purples and reds and oranges and yellows. You can actually see the kind of part of the core stem of the trunk here, and this creature is in fact a fungus that's burrowed into the fossil tree. Or magnified about 4 times more. Some of them are even as high as 30 times. So please keep that in mind as you take a look. And does anyone have any questions? Silence falls. Particularly childish at heart this evening, step into our Isaiah's Corner Dino Nation, which has several interactives that relate to fossils and dinosaurs. And thank you again so much for coming.